Alright guys, welcome back to my part 2 of the Hearthstone Arena Guide. Today we're going through a sample match that I have here with my warrior. So I'll basically guide you through step by step with all the decisions I made, and I'll explain why I picked the cards I did. Here the Fang Creeper is certainly better than the Dread Crusader, and it's also better than the Whirlwind, so that's my pick. And I wanted to check real quick if the Stormwind Champion is better than the Flesh Eating Goal, and it turns out it is, so that's what I'm going to pick next. And during the game, I had a little bit of issue of tabbing between my game screen and my draft list on my browsers. That's why it might look a little strange that I'm trying to tab between screens so often. So here, this engine's clearly better than the other two, and I had to check real quick if the Warsong Commander is better than the Wolf Rider, and slightly so. And Faceless Manipulator is clearly better than the Garbages, and Shattered Sun should be better than the Battle Rage here, since it's a really great common card. And I'm just going through the list to double check to make sure. And here the Stormwind Knight is better than the Inner Rage and Charge, since Charge is definitely a garbage card, and Inner Rage can be good in certain constructed decks, such as very early aggro, but I don't see it being very good otherwise. Here we have the BGH over the Shield Slam, because Shield Slam is very situational. You have to combo it with the Shield Block, or it's not very good, since you can only do 2 damage with it. Here, Frothing Berserker is better than Sunwalker, although Sunwalker is a really good rare. The Razorfin Hunter is definitely better than the other two garbages. Cruel Taskmaster is great, but since I don't play a lot of Warrior, I just have to go back to the list and double check things once in a while to make sure that I'm picking the right cards. Here the Fiery War Axe is one of the top picks for Warrior. Execute over the garbages. Cruel Taskmaster and Corcoran Elite is a little bit close, but it turns out that Corcoran Elite is better due to nice stats with Charge. And now we have Jungle Panther versus Cleave, and Cleave is slightly above Jungle Panther, so that's what I'm going to pick. And Silverhand Knight is better than the other two. It's a great 5-drop. And here we have Commanding Shout versus the Questing Adventurer. Questing Adventurer has one problem, is that it usually takes more than one turn to boost it up, especially in the early game, and he's not that great late game, since they're much stronger minions than a slightly boosted Questing Adventurer. So we're going with the Commanding Shout here to give us some good trading potential. And Cruel Taskmaster is another 2. And I'm going to pick him because I need more 2-drops. And I already have 3 5-drops. Although the Fang Creeper is ranked about the same. Heroic Strike's better than Garbages. And Stormwind Champion's better than Garbages as well. And then we have Silver Hand Knight versus the Heroic Strike. Silver Hand Knight, Heroic Strike. I end up picking the Heroic Strike because I figured I could use more 2s instead of more 5s since my 5s are looking pretty good right now. And here we have the War Golem versus the Ogre Magi. The Ogre Magi is slightly better. And here we have Jungle Panther versus Execute. Jungle Panther is a good card since you can potentially trade up with a 4-drop with the Stealth. Here we have the Chillwind Yeti versus the Cruel Taskmaster. Chillwind Yeti is one of the top neutral commons, but I picked the Cruel Taskmaster because I needed more 2s, and Chillwind Yeti feels a little slow in this deck since it looks really good as an aggro warrior based on the cards I've picked so far. And I apologize for no in-game sound since I didn't realize that when I started recording. Arathi Weaponsmith is the top pick for warriors, so I'm going with that. Same with the Fiery War Axe, is a really good card for the warrior. And here I need a little bit of late game, so I went with the Mountain Giant. Usually I wouldn't do that because Mountain Giant is not a really good card since you need a lot of cards in your hand in order to play it. It's better in constructed control decks than Arena. Another reason being that I already have one big game hunter, I don't really need a second one since it's just redundant. As you can see here, my deck is definitely tilting towards the early game. It's a really rush heavy warrior, so I look to beat my opponent by turn 7 or 8. And in the late game, I'm more likely than my opponent to run out of gas, so my best bet is to win the early game. Alright, here we go. Let's see who's gonna be my first opponent here. We have a pretty simple decision to send back the 7 and 8 since we need the early game. And if I don't get the 2s and 3s, I'm in a lot of trouble as a rush warrior. Here I choose not to coin out the Fiery War Axe because I don't have a really good follow-up with it. And the Cruel Taskmaster is best played when I have a friendly minion or if he has a weak minion that I want to kill with 1 damage. And in case my opponent has a ooze, I just wanted to deal 3 damage right off the bat since I'm an aggro anyway. I wanted to finish my opponent as soon as possible. Alright. Here I played the Razor Fin to bait out a potential Frostbolt from the mage. Now it's really good for me that my opponent voluntarily traded so that my minions are free to roam. And on top of that, the mage seemed to have a really slow start, so I can definitely capitalize on that. Here I see a really good opportunity to use my Cruel Taskmaster to boost up my Frothing Berserker, since I can deal perfect 7 damage to his Doomsayer. Here the mage uses a Cone of Cold since she doesn't have a really good answer to my Frothing Berserker. So I'm in a pretty good spot here since mage can only delay 1 turn with that Cone of Cold. Here, I don't really have a better play other than the Stormwind Champion, since everything else dies to Flame Strike. And I don't really need to play the Senjin because the mage doesn't have any minions and I'm at a pretty good amount of health. Now the mage is in a really rough spot since I'm forcing the lethal, and the only thing that saves her is the Flame Strike number 2. As you can see here, it's simply copying the Stormwind Champion that will give me the lethal on the mage. Alright guys, stay tuned for the part 3 of my video, and hope you guys enjoy. See you next time.